Greetings, Otaku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you, surprisingly, yet again, another Rant segment edition, right here on Otaku Assemble! Weekly. Now, I know in my last Rant segment, I went ahead and I explained to you guys how I wanted to start doing my new monthly videos, which are the Rant segment, the anime favorites, manga of the month, and the anime of the month. And granted, this week was supposed to be the introduction of the anime favorites segment. But the thing about the Rant segment is that while it's good to go ahead and, plan in advance for the Rant segment, topics and issues to discuss and rant about pop up on a daily basis. The Rant segment, in all honesty, should be spontaneous. And this week is a clear-cut example of that. Because there was a video that was made last week, and it's kind of funny because it was inspired by my problems with Hollywood rant. But I'm going to do a quick shout out to my man Zipblockgory, who did a video entitled My Major Problems with Current Anime and Manga. And he stated in his video that, that was inspired by my problems with Hollywood vid. But his video inspired me to first and foremost, Zip, congrats, man. Great fucking video. But after seeing that thing, I was like, man, I think I need to make a video response to it. So yes, this rant is going to be a video response to my man Zipblockgory's video, which I highly recommend that you guys check out his vid. Check out his vid first, then come back and watch this one. Highly, highly recommend that you check out his vid, and I'll go ahead and I'll post the link in the description box. Now, granted, a lot of my thoughts and opinions on this topic, Zip perfectly explained in his video. But with that said, I think I need to actually address this issue. I need to address this issue because I've been on the fence about this thing back and forth for a very long time now. And you guys may have heard me discuss this before in the past, whether it be during a Skype call, blog TV, even my One Piece and Naruto manga chapter review that I did about a month back, that's entitled "I'm Tired of This Bullshit." Even then, was bits and fragments of the issue at hand. So I decided to go ahead and just do a rant on this thing and get my thoughts out there, and then after that, just let this shit be done. Okay. So this video is going to be entitled My Problems with Today's Anime and Manga. Now, I need to get into this. Now, let's go ahead and get into this rant, okay? Because for the last couple of months, believe it or not, I've been having a major problem with today's anime and manga. I will be dead honest with you, okay? When it comes to new titles, I am not at all intrigued or interested with new titles. Now, you could say that is a bad thing because that means I'm not picking up new material to read and watch. But at the same time, the reason for that is because my anime aesthetic has been killed. Now, I hope that this is the first video you guys hear that because I actually want to coin that term, okay? Because I brought it up in a Skype call with my man, the Insane Game Freak. Shout out to him right quick. But pretty much, the anime aesthetic. And what do I mean when I say the anime aesthetic? The anime aesthetic is pretty much, the best way I can explain it is the sense of euphoria that diehard fans of anime and manga get from watching anime and reading manga. When you pick up a manga or when you watch an anime and you see an episode or you read a chapter that just blows you away and you can't help but pick up the episodes or pick up the volumes, that right there is part of the anime aesthetic, okay? Now, there are other things that contribute into what I call the anime aesthetic, and I will go into depth explaining these elements later on in this rant. But so pretty much the main problem, I think this is the overall problem, the biggest issue that I have with today's anime and manga is the fact that they've killed the anime aesthetic for me. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about. The big three are wholeheartedly and solitarily responsible for killing the anime aesthetic for me. One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach completely killed the anime aesthetic for me. Completely. Number one, these series are overly saturated. They are everywhere. Everywhere you go. Anime, everywhere you go. Any place that has to deal with anime or manga, it's always One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. That's all the fuck you see. Okay? I gotta do a quick shout out to my man Cristelli. I don't know if he'll pick up this vid or not, but he just came from Akon in Dallas this past week, and he told me everywhere he went was One Piece. Okay, for that fucking matter, you might as well just call it PeaceCon. You see what I'm saying? Like, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach are oversaturated everywhere you go. That's all the fuck you see. And to make the matter even worse, especially here in the YouTube anime community, that's all anybody talks about. Call me a liar, I dare you to, but that's all anybody ever talks about. I can't go on YouTube and click under the All Activity tab because all I'm going to see is One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach related videos. I can't go into a blog TV nowadays without, that's the only topic of discussion, okay? I found out that apparently this past week the whole One Piece versus Naruto feud had started over again. We've already done this. We've had this discussion back in what, October? And y'all are still on this shit? Are you fucking kidding me? That's all anybody seems to talk about. Why? To say that there are so many anime and manga in the fucking world, and these are the three that everyone just has to fucking talk about. Now, granted, yes, they are the three biggest ongoing series. And yes, they are three of the biggest, of the most popular series. But with that said, there are so many great series that nobody is even talking about. And not to mention, even the fucking classic anime and manga, nobody even talks about anymore. Now, yes, you know, you have your DBZ discussions, you have your Yu Yu Hakusho discussions, your Kenshin discussions, and that's all fine and dandy. But I'm talking about some older classic fucking anime and manga that no one is fucking talking about. I don't see anybody talking about Cowboy Bebop or Trigun. I don't see anybody talking about Fooly Cooly, Outlaw Star. I don't see anybody talking about Basilisk, which isn't even that old. Basilisk is fairly recent. I don't see anybody talking about Hellgirl. I don't see anybody talking about Wolf's Rain. Nobody talks about these series. And no one's talking about Lupin the Third. I don't see anybody talking about Ninja Scroll, Vampire Hunter D, or the Miyazaki films. Nobody's talking about this. So that's one of the biggest detachments and one of the biggest problems I have with the quote-unquote YouTube anime community, because to say that there's so many fucking people in it, quote-unquote, so many fucking people, y'all can't talk about anything else? Y'all have nothing else to talk about. When you wake up in the morning, all you think about is One Piece, Naruto, or Bleach. And for fuck's sake, anybody who brings up Fairy Tail or Hitman Reborn, I will fucking strangle you. I swear to God. I swear to God. Okay? Even that. Even outside of the big three, all you're talking about is Fairy Tail, Hitman Reborn, Toriko, all these ongoing series. Now granted, Toriko, I don't know shit about Toriko, okay? So I can't really judge Toriko just yet. I will get around to my review of it in the future. But yeah, that's just so unattractive, unappealing. You know, granted, I've been on YouTube on this channel making vids for almost a year. It'll be a year come June 29th. But if I was just, like me personally, the way I feel now, if I was just coming into YouTube and trying to actually be a part of the YouTube anime community, I wouldn't want to, because that's That's all y'all fucking talk about. It's not even the YouTube anime community. It's the big three, and it's the YouTube big three community. That's what it is. That's what it is. And a lot of you guys are gonna get real pissed off by me saying that, but honestly, I dare you to challenge me on it. Okay? If you have such a problem with what I'm saying, make vids about other anime and manga. Simple. That's the fucking solution. Okay? Now, like I said, the oversaturation of these series that, in my opinion, and granted, let me go ahead and actually get down to the topic of the big three. They're not even that fucking good. Now, I know a lot, oh, Larry, you can't say that. You can't say that One Piece is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, man. Oh, man, Naruto is the greatest anime and manga of all time. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. And I swear to God, if I see another Bleach... Number one, these series aren't even that fucking good to begin with, okay? Now, I'm not saying they're bad. One Piece... Even though I don't like One Piece, I won't sit here and say that One Piece is bad. One Piece isn't bad, but it is not nearly as good as these Peace Stars make it out to be. Okay, it is not the end all be all definitive anime and manga. It's not. Okay, stop kidding yourself. Okay, and Naruto is a personal heartbreak for me because Naruto was my favorite of the big three, and I can't even stomach Naruto anymore. Like. You know, part one, great. Part one was wonderful. Part two, Shippuden, is bullshit. It's bullshit. And if you're gonna sit here and compare the series as a whole, part one and part two, the negatives of part two outweigh the positives of part one, therefore making the series in its entirety undesirable by me. This is, now like I said, this is my fucking personal opinion, okay? So don't sit up here and get all butthurt over what the fuck I'm saying. But, in my personal opinion, the negatives outweigh the positives. So that's why I'm not even trying to fuck with Naruto anymore, okay? Especially recently, the chapters have been bullshit, okay? The anime episodes have been bullshit. The chapters have been bullshit. It's just bullshit. And I'm not even going to address Bleach, okay? Fairy Tail is cliche as shit, and it's arbitrary at best, okay? I think that's the correct term I use, arbitrary. Fucking Fairy Tail, there's nothing significantly special about Fairy Tail, okay? Nothing at all. There is nothing in Fairy Tail that I haven't already seen in another anime or manga. Hitman Reborn, the fact that it takes so long for the series to take off means it's a bad fucking series. If you can't engage your audience from the first page, you've failed as a series. And like I said, I don't know shit about Toriko. I'll find out about that later on. I'll find out about that later on. But you know, this is all anyone's ever talking about. You know, and then the newer series that are really fucking good, no one's even fucking talking about, you know, or at least they're not talking about it anymore. Death Note being one. People stopped talking about Death Note. Death Note was a great fucking series, okay? Code Geass. I don't see anybody talking about fucking Code Geass. That was a great fucking series, okay? Out of all the new series that come out like within the past 5 years, those are the only two that I can fuck with. But then again, I think Death Note and Death Note and Code Geass are older than 5 years. 10 years. Since 2001, those are the only two that's really worth talking about in my fucking opinion, okay? Now, so like I said, you have all these new anime and manga, oversaturated, overhyped. That's what they are. They're over fucking hyped, okay? I can't go into a fucking anime and manga shop without seeing nothing but One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto. I'm sick of that shit. Especially since all of the classic ones are, number one, a hell of a lot better. Number two, did not get nearly as much promotion with the exception of DBZ. DBZ and Pokemon oversaturated the shit also. But at least those were good enough to actually back up the hype, okay? You see what I'm saying? There's a reason why DBZ was hyped the way it was. There's a reason why over here in America it was oversaturated the way it was, because DBZ was the definitive anime and fucking manga. DBZ was, you know, the loaf of bread, the ham, and the fucking cheese, okay? And all the anime and manga that came out just before or just after it only made everything better. Now I'm going to get into the section of this rant where I gotta hype up the classics. Why? Because all you fucking Peace Tards, Bleach Tards, and Naruto Tards, y'all disrespectful towards the classics. And I'm sorry, I got no time, no tolerance, no patience for motherfuckers who just disrespect the fucking classics. Yes, I'm talking about DBZ. Yes, I'm talking about Yu Yu Hakusho, Kenshin, Inuyasha, Shaman King. Yes, I'm talking about Fist of the North Star. Yes, I'm talking about fucking Vampire Hunter D. Yes, I'm talking about hell, I'll even put Hajime Ippo in there too, because that's an old classic series. That series has been around for forever. You see what I'm saying? All of these great classic series. Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, the Tenchis, okay? All of these great Gundams, the Gundams, Robotech, Ronin Warriors, Saint Seiya, all of these great series. Y'all don't even fucking talk about, and y'all have the audacity to be disrespectful towards. No, I have no time, no patience for you undermined, disrespectful ass children, okay? Respect will be given. That's all I'm gonna say about that, okay? I had a fucking debate with my homeboy because he had the audacity to say One Piece was greater than DBZ. I'm talking about a motherfucker who grew up with me. We grew up on the same shit, and he had the audacity to say some shit like that. I'm not gonna throw his name out there, but if you're watching this video, you know who you are. But he had the audacity to say that shit. You see what I'm saying? No, respect will be given. The respect has been earned. You can't say that these titles haven't earned and garnered the respect they deserve. They've done it. They've put in the footwork. They've put in the time. Okay? Why is it that these are the fucking series we remember? However, over here in America, why is it that One Piece did not make it as big as DBZ, despite the fact that having the exact same fucking events that befell DBZ, befell One Piece, yet DBZ survived, okay? You can't tell me about All Larry, One Piece had a bad dub. So did DBZ. Anybody who was watching DBZ in the early 90s remembers the Ocean Group dub. Remembers the Ocean Group dub when it was coming on Saturday mornings on the fucking Fox box, okay? I remember that shit, okay? It wasn't until it went to Toonami, just like One Piece. Look, I want to go ahead and draw this comparison. DBZ and One Piece, both bad dubs in America. You had Ocean Group, you had 4Kids, both on Saturday mornings on the same fucking network, okay? Both went to Cartoon Network on the Toonami block, and both got picked up by the same fucking licensing company, Funimation. However, which one survived? DBZ. Which one failed? One Piece. I'm sorry, there's a reason for that. Why? Because it's not as fucking good. Bullshit, okay? Bunch of disrespectful bullshit. Like I said, I do not have the time, nor the patience, nor the tolerance for you disrespectful ass little punks, okay? Brush up on your fucking anime and manga history before you decide to step to me, little fucks. Okay. Now, moving on with this rant, okay? Like I said, I want to get back to what I call the anime aesthetic. Another thing that has killed the anime aesthetic for me is over availability, okay? When we were coming up as kids, we didn't have the information superhighway, okay? The internet was fairly new in the late 80s and in the early 90s, okay? The internet was still new. Me personally, I didn't have the internet until, 1999? I was almost out of grade school before I got the internet. So being able to get these anime and mangas, especially since back then there were a few fan subs, but you didn't have fan sub websites. Like, the earliest fan sub I can remember seeing, I believe it was a G Gundam fan sub. I think it's the earliest one I've ever seen, but it was a VHS. And there damn sure wasn't no manga scanlations online. You see what I'm saying? Like, all of this has pretty much popped up within the last, I want to say 8 years or so. 6 to 8 years. So when we were growing up, like I said, the internet was new. There wasn't, number one, there was no such thing as video streaming. They didn't have any of these video streams. Pirating wasn't that big of a problem. I mean, you know, this was around this was, matter of fact, yeah, this was like pre-Napster, okay? Because Napster didn't even pop off until like 97. So, you know, pirating wasn't that big of a problem, especially since it was so difficult to get these anime and manga over here. The best you could do for a bootleg was to get like a bootleg VHS from homeboy sitting on the corner. And even that was going to run you somewhere between $5 to $10. Why? Because it was so fucking difficult to obtain. With that said, back in the G, it was a little bit, you know, anime and manga wasn't as big over here in America, and because of it, yes, granted, we did miss out on a bunch of good series that we had to wait a very long time to receive here in America because a lot of companies weren't putting in the money to get these series overseas. You see what I'm saying? Because anime and manga was still fairly new, a lot of companies didn't want to put forth the bread for it, you know, because they didn't know how it would happen. And it wasn't until the mid to late 90s with the Toonami boom, with the Pokemon boom and the Digimon boom, that companies were like, oh wait, this is something that we can actually invest money in and make a pretty decent profit off of. And that's when we started getting this influx of anime and manga. It wasn't like that back in the G. Because of the over availability of these series now, the aesthetic is killed. Now I really am talking to my age group, my generation. Tell me, you guys can't tell me if you came up watching DBZ every weekday on Toonami. You can't tell me, number one, after school you were hauling ass home. Why? Because you had to catch it. You had to catch it. What was it? No, it was at 4:30, and then they moved it to the 5 o'clock block. But yeah, at 4:30, had to make sure your ass had to make sure you was home. And then when Dragon Ball came out right before the new episodes of DBZ, 4:30, man, had to make sure you caught that Dragon Ball, bruh. But you know, new episodes Monday through Friday. You can't tell me you weren't dying to see that shit. Why? Because one thing that happened with DBZ, and this also happened with other series that ran, you know, on Toonami and whatnot, was they ran these series like television sitcoms. If you missed an episode, you had to wait all the way until the fucking summer before you got to see that episode again. They ran it during the school year, in the new episodes in the fall, winter, and spring. You missed an episode, you had to wait all the way until the fucking summer when they replayed the season in order to catch it again. So you didn't want to miss that shit, right? But nowadays, if you miss, you know, the new Naruto Shippuden episode on Disney XD, you can just go on YouTube and find the same fucking episode. You couldn't do that back in the day. That helped build the aesthetic. Why? Because you were excited. You were hyped up. You were pumped. You can't tell me that when DBZ went on break, when the season ended in the spring, and you had to wait all the way until the fall for the new episodes, when you saw the promo for the new season, you can't tell me you wasn't fucking pumped. That shit would get you so fucking excited. Today's anime and manga don't have that. Why? Because you can just get it online. And waiting for a new anime episode or waiting for a new manga chapter online is not the same thing as having to wait for it to come on television. Number one, it's not in your same language, okay? I don't give a fuck what y'all say. English, dub, fuck the fucking win. I want to enjoy my anime and my manga the same way the Japanese do, okay? They enjoy it in their native language. I want to enjoy it in my native language, okay? I got nothing against subs. I personally prefer dubs. Why? Because I like the dub actors. Now, this is one thing that my man Zip in his video he disagreed with. Because here's the thing. He said that with the voice actors in English dubs, they need to get a lot more voice actors. I wholeheartedly agree with him on that point. We don't have enough voice actors. And there are so many out there that they could be picking up, but they don't. The problem is because these licensing companies have house voice actors. House voice actors means there's a select number of people that they choose for all of their dubbed material. Funimation is notorious for this. Notorious for having house actors. And not only that, house actors also means that those actors are licensed exclusively to that company. They have exclusive contracts so that no other company can get them for their dubs. That is bullshit. It really is. That's bullshit. I understand that you want to keep the best voice actors for yourselves, but with that said, you aren't hiring any new ones. You see what I'm saying? You just kind of got the same team of voice actors working on all your stuff. Granted, they can't work on anything else, but neither can anyone else work on your shit either. So that's where they're fucking up with that. So I do agree with you, Zip, on that point. But where I disagree with you is the whole thing about having the same voice actors in everything. Like I said, we do need more of them, but I do enjoy seeing the same voice actor in multiple animes. I do enjoy that. Why? Because when I notice who it is, it's fun to me. You know, I saw the first episode of Code Geass when it first premiered on Adult Swim, right? Right after Death Note ended. I knew exactly who Lelouch was and who Suzaku was. Why? Because I recognized their voice actors. I was like, that's Johnny Young Bosch. That's your boy who does Sasuke's voice. I knew exactly who those voice actors was. I like doing that shit. I like seeing, watching like Sekirei be like, oh man, it's Chuck Huber. I like watching, shit, even going back to the older series, like watching fucking Rurouni Kenshin and be like, man, that's Steven Bloom, man. That's Spike Spiegel, man. That's Orochimaru, man. You see what I'm saying? I actually enjoy doing that. But like I said, just to reiterate, I do agree that while I enjoy seeing, the classic voice actors in all these different series, we also need a lot more people. And I wouldn't make such a big deal on that if it wasn't for the fact that we have so many voice actors, amateur voice actors and actresses that aren't getting work. There are so many out there. Really good ones too. Just throwing that out there. So, to bring this back into the whole anime aesthetic thing, like I said, these new series, they're just overly available now. Everything is just a click away. The newest episodes from Japan, the newest manga scanlations, torrents to download full series and all that jazz. It's all readily available just at the click, and that kills the hype for me. Why? Because if I know that it's just openly available, I can't get pumped about anything. I just can't. I can't get pumped up about anything anymore. So now I'm trying to sit here, just to collect my thoughts for a minute, because I'm trying to think what other issue did I want to address. Because I addressed the whole thing about the oversaturation of the big three. I addressed the over-availability of new anime and manga. I addressed the disrespectfulness of the newer generation dissing the older generation. I'm trying to think what else, another problem that I have with today's anime and manga. Guys, give me a minute, because I don't think this rant is over with. If it is, then this rant was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. But maybe that's because I've gone ad nauseum about this topic time and time again. I mean, it really is just me repeating myself, for this video. But this I can actually talk about. Now, I mentioned that, the younger generation, they seem to, like I said, they're disrespectful towards the older classics. And, I've personally met a lot of fucking people like that, who are like, oh, I can't get into that because it's just too old, which is stupid. That's a really stupid mentality, and you will cut yourself short in life with that type of mentality. But okay, I might sound like a hypocrite when I say this, because, well, no. Let me explain myself, okay? Now I want to address the openness, the open-mindedness of being able to pick up new anime and manga, which does tie into the aesthetic. If you have a good anime aesthetic, you will look, you will actually search for newer anime and manga to get into. If you have a good anime aesthetic. Now, like I said, me personally, just talking about me personally, my aesthetic is already dead. I'm kind of already set within my ways, and I'm to that point where I'm very picky about anime and manga now because of all the problems I listed earlier in this video. But I'm talking about the newer cats who are still well within their aesthetic, but they won't pick up newer series or like I mentioned earlier, older series because they're just too, they just can't seem to hop off the dick of the big three. That is bullshit, okay? I'm sorry. If you are 15 years old, you do not have no right to be picky about anime and manga. Because honestly, I doubt you've consumed as much to have an expert or even a particular taste by that age, okay? Me personally, now granted, I didn't get into fucking anime and manga until, 10 years old? But when I was 15, you know what my mindset towards anime and manga was? Everything. I was watching any anime and manga that came out on television when I was a teenager. I was watching it. Whenever I went to the bookstore or a comic book shop, I was trying to read all the fucking manga that was in that bitch, okay? I was taking everything in. And I would like to think that that's usually how this whole train should work. When you're a kid, that's when you get your first tastes. You should get a taste of all the different genres that exist within anime and manga at a very young age. When I was a little kid, I wasn't just watching shonen shit. No, I watched Sailor Moon. Okay, the reasons why I don't like Sailor Moon are actually pretty validated considering I've seen the entire fucking series and all the movies. Okay, I've seen that whole fucking series. Okay, I had my shoujo. Okay, I had my kid series because I was watching Pokemon, Digimon, Monster Rancher, Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh! I was watching all that shit. I had my harem because I was watching fucking Tenchi. I had my seinen because I was watching fucking Soul Taker and Cowboy Bebop and I'm trying to think of another like really graphic. What I had seen. I'm trying to think of an older Evangelion. I saw that at a young age. You see what I'm saying? Like all that shit. I was getting everything. I was getting a little bit of everything, and that's what you should do at an early age. Get a little taste of everything, and then by the time you get into your teens, that's when you should just start taking in a bunch of shit. You've already had your taste, in every different genre. That's when you start consuming a lot of it, and then by the time you get into your late teens, early adulthood years, that's when you start trimming the fat, and that's when you start getting picky about the type of anime and manga you want. You want to engage in. Why? Because your taste has matured. Your taste has matured and it has developed. And mine is no different. Mine is no different in that aspect. Where mine is different though is my aesthetic. Like I said, my aesthetic is dead. So a lot of these new series, I'm really not interested in. Why? Number one, they're too cliche. Number two, they don't offer anything different that I haven't already seen. They're just the regurgitated shit over and over and over with. Number three, also from the aspect of someone who creates this shit. Keep in mind, I am an amateur mangaka. I do write my own shit. Okay? If I'm coming up with better stories than what I'm seeing, that really kills the aesthetic for me. Okay? For a month, I predicted what the fuck was going to happen in the Naruto manga. Your manga should never get predictable. Never. Just throwing that out there. So yes, like I said, for me, my aesthetic is dead. But for younger cats, for you guys not to get into newer series, and especially older series that you haven't seen, just because you can't seem to pull One Piece, Naruto, or Bleach's dick out of your ass, is that's no excuse. That's really no excuse. And it's actually, honestly, I don't think you can claim yourself to be a true anime fan. And I don't mean to get into the whole true anime fan thing again, because I don't mean to bring that up. But what I'm saying is, you can't consider yourself as much of an anime fan as the next guy if you aren't engaging in newer series and older series just like he is, okay? Just throwing that out there. Now, does that mean that me personally, I'm talking about myself, where it's like, oh, Larry, well, you aren't engaging in newer series? Well, yes, I am. What do you think the whole Manga of the Month and Anime of the Month segments are based off of? All of those anime and manga on those lists, I do not read or watch at this current present in time. All of those will be new experiences and first impressions for me. All of those. I'm doing it. I'm just doing it at a much slower pace. Simple and plain. I'm sorry, but I have too many personal responsibilities as a young man to sit up here and watch anime and manga all fucking day. I don't live with my parents. Okay? Full-time college student, working, living on my own. So I can't afford to sit up here and watch anime and manga every fucking day. No. Besides, the shit gets ridiculously boring after a while. Trust me. But for you younger guys, to not pick up newer series is no excuse. Why? Because this is the shit that's coming out while you're coming of age. This is the shit that you should be picking up. But especially to not pick up the older series because they're too old. That's just stupid. That's not even smart, okay? I was in high school. Actually, yeah. First time I saw Ninja Scroll, I was actually in high school, now that I think about it. I was in high school, and I caught a glimpse of a Time magazine that had Pikachu on it. And it was talking about the Pokemon boom of the 90s and the rise of anime and manga in America. And in that magazine, they listed some of the greatest anime movies of all time. They were Princess Mononoke, Ninja Scroll, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and I forget what the fifth one was. But when I saw that shit, I went and picked up all of those fucking movies. Because me wanting to be, well, back then I wanted to be a Japanese animator. That was before I really got heavy into being a mangaka. But, you know, my whole thing is, if this is what I want to do, then I need to learn about the history of this genre. So I purposely went out and picked up all those fucking movies. And all of those movies were great. There's a reason why they're considered the greatest of all time. Because we're still talking about them decades later, okay? Just some food for thought. But with that said, I didn't mean to make this rant too long, but this had to be addressed and I had to get this shit out of here. So yeah, that's why all of that, that's why the anime aesthetic for me is dead right now. And as far as, you know, trying to rebuild my anime aesthetic, from now on, a lot of the new shit that I'm getting into, I'm just keeping to myself. I'm keeping it to myself. I'm watching it at my pace. I'm reading it at my pace. I'm enjoying it myself, okay? I'm not interested in the big three anymore. And to be honest with you, the whole YouTube anime community thing, like I said, it's not that appealing anymore. Why? It's not because I sold out or because I just need to get out of it. I just used it for my own nefarious means. No, it's because I'm trying to grow. My channel's trying to grow. I'm trying to grow as an artist. I'm trying to grow as a person. And that community is not growing. It's not. It's stale. It's stale, crusty, and in the same fucking place. It's in the same place that I found it. The only difference is now we just have an influx of more and more motherfuckers week after week after week reviewing a bunch of shit that really doesn't merit a review 90% of the fucking time. And they aren't doing anything different to make the reviews any better. The one thing I can say about OAW in the past, when we were doing heavy anime and manga reviews week in and week out, all of our reviews were discussion based. And we always referenced our fucking material. We could sit there and have an intellectual conversation on the shit that's going on in these anime and mangas. Why? Because we have we have the capital. Okay, I forget the exact term, and my teacher would be very disappointed in me for forgetting this term. But we have all of the anime and manga that we've seen in our lifetime to back reference. You know, me, I read a fucking lot. Okay, you know, whenever something went down in this shit that had something to do with history or mythology, I could fucking back reference. Okay, we had a lot of shit that we could use to back reference, to feed off of, to compare and contrast these series to. You see what I'm saying? We knew our shit. Pretty much. We knew our shit. We knew how to talk about it. We knew how to discuss it. We knew how to have intellectual conversations. You sitting in front of a fucking camera just telling us what goes on in the anime and manga, in the anime episode and manga chapter is not a fucking review. It's a recap. It's not a fucking review. Now, yes, you can go ahead and say the same thing about my Game of Thrones reviews, but the Game of Thrones reviews are a little bit different. Why? Because I'm experiencing those for the first time. I don't have anything to back reference those off of. So those reviews, I'm not able to do those reviews with the same expertise that I can do anime and manga. Why? Because I'm not an expert on Game of Thrones. I am an expert on anime and manga, especially shonen anime and manga. So that's why I can do those reviews like that. I can be highly analytical and highly critical on the shit because I know it backwards and forwards. But like I said, so the YouTube anime community, you're in the same fucking place. You're in the same place. And I've outgrown you. There it is. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you guys for sticking around for this, you know, this whole video. Thanks for sticking around with that shit. But with that said, okay, so this is going to be uploaded on Saturday. Tomorrow, which is Sunday, is going to be, once again, I'm going to go ahead and do a live stream for the season finale of Game of Thrones, episode 10. And I'm also going to do my review afterwards. Because I'm actually going to get after this video. I'm actually going to go ahead and do my my music and my movie review for this week. I know it's late, but you know I had schoolwork earlier this week. But my music and movie review, the music review, like I said, I know it's going to be late. That's going to be uploaded on Monday, and my movie review is going to be uploaded on Tuesday. In which case, skip a day Wednesday, and then of course next week's videos will be uploaded on time. So for the next couple of weeks, for the next week, the channel will kind of, you know, it'll be almost like a new video every fucking day almost. And I hate to do that, but that's because I was fucking late. But with that said, that'll do it here for me for this rant segment. Thank you for joining me again this week. Like I said, Game of Thrones live stream tomorrow at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time on Blog TV. Episode 10, season finale. The review will be up tomorrow night. The music review on Monday, movie review on Tuesday, and also keep an eye out for my guest spot on A Podcast of Ice and Fire for episode 9. That should be up later. That should be up this week, actually. But I will also be joining them for episode 10, and that's going to be up next week. So go ahead. I'll whenever the podcast is posted, I'll go ahead and I'll put the link to the podcast in the description box in, you know, my upcoming videos. But go ahead and check those guys out. The guys and gals of A Podcast of Ice and Fire. They're fucking awesome. Other than that, this is Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief. I'll be signing off, and I'll catch you cats later. Peace.